Your parents do not need to know what you have, not because you owe them secrecy, because the moment they know the real number, the relationship stops being about you and starts being about the number, and you will spend years trying to figure out why every conversation since then has felt different, without ever connecting it back to the moment you answered that question honestly. You have felt this shift already. There was a moment, a dinner, a phone call, a casual conversation where the topic drifted toward money. When you told them about a financial win, a business moving, a deal closing, a number you hit that you worked for in silence while they doubted the entire direction. And something shifted in the room that you could not name. Not celebration, not pride, something that looked like both of those things, but felt like neither. A question that arrived too quickly, a comment dressed as concern, a subtle recalibration in how they spoke to you about your plans from that moment forward. You wrote it off as complexity, as the complicated nature of family, as the difficulty of people who grew up with less trying to understand someone who is building for more. You were half right. It is complicated, but not for the reason you assumed. Here is what actually happened in that room. The moment you disclosed your financial position, you did not share news. You transferred leverage. The information you handed over, your income, your savings, your assets, your trajectory, did not stay as information. It became the internal model your family now uses to calculate every future interaction with you. What to ask for, what to expect, where to apply pressure, when your generosity is obligation rather than choice. That model does not work in your favor. It works in theirs, not through malice, through the specific automatic psychology of people who now know your financial flaw and will interact with you from a position of knowing exactly how much you can afford to lose. This is called financial exposure mapping, the process by which disclosed wealth becomes a behavioral blueprint that others use to determine the terms of their relationship with you. You did not notice it happening because it did not announce itself. It simply became the new architecture of every conversation about money, family obligation, and what you owe the people who raised you. Niccolo Machiavelli was not a theorist. He was a man who spent decades inside the rooms where fortunes were made and destroyed, where a single disclosed number changed the political calculus of every person in the building. He did not write about power as an abstraction. He documented it as a mechanism, and the mechanism he documented with the most precise and uncomfortable accuracy was the specific way that people who love you use what you tell them about your resources to determine what they will take. He wrote one line that every man who has ever made the mistake in this hook will recognize the moment it lands. Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. He was not writing about greed. He was writing about the specific, biological priority that financial information triggers in even the most loving relationships. A priority that operates below conscious intention and above declared loyalty every single time. You did not lose your parents' love when you disclosed your financial position. You lost something more operationally significant. You lost the version of the relationship where they did not know exactly what you could afford to lose. This video names every category of damage that disclosure produces. It names what you have already handed over that cannot be taken back, and it names the precise operational moves that change the dynamic from this point forward, regardless of what has already been disclosed. If you are expecting a comfortable conversation about family and money, this is not that video. If you are ready for the version that is accurate, stay with this. Let us establish what actually happened in that conversation. Not what you thought was happening, not the version where you were being open with someone who loves you. The version underneath that, the one operating at the level of human psychology rather than human intention. When you disclosed your financial position to your parents, you did not share information. You transferred power, quietly, completely, irreversibly, and you did it with the specific enthusiasm of someone who believed that love makes information safe, that closeness neutralizes risk, that family is the one environment where transparency has no cost. Every one of those beliefs is wrong. Not because your parents are predators, because they are human. And the human brain, regardless of how much love it carries, operates on biological imperatives that activate automatically the moment it receives information about available resources within its proximity network. This is not a character flaw, it is an ancient survival mechanism that has been running in human neurology since before your family existed. The mechanism is called financial proximity activation. the automatic and unconscious recalibration of a person's expectations, entitlements, and behavioral patterns in response to confirmed knowledge of surplus in a trusted relationship. The love does not disappear when this mechanism activates. It coexists with it, which is what makes the result so difficult to name and so impossible to undo. You are still here because you have felt this. You know the specific quality of the conversation that followed your disclosure. Something in the architecture of the relationship shifted, and you could not locate the moment it changed because you were inside it when it happened. That moment is what this video is about. Before we go any further, you need to understand the specific way your family system processes financial information, because it is different from how any other relationship in your life processes it. In a professional context, when someone learns you have money, the primary response is repositioning. They recalibrate their professional relationship to you based on updated information. The relationship was already transactional at some level, so the recalibration is legible and manageable. In a friendship, the response is comparative. Your win gets measured against their position. Social comparison activates. The dynamic shifts but remains between two roughly equivalent social agents. But in a family system, the response is entitlement activation. And entitlement is a different beast entirely from either repositioning or comparison, because entitlement inside a family is not experienced as entitlement by the person feeling it. It is experienced as reasonable expectation. It is experienced as family duty, as the natural consequence of blood, as something that was always implicitly owed and has simply now become visible, now that the resources to fulfill the obligation are confirmed to exist. You telling them the number did not create the entitlement. It gave the entitlement a number to attach to. Think about the conversation that followed. Not the first one, the ones that came after. The way certain requests now arrive with a specific texture they did not have before. Not demands. Requests, framed as concern, framed as family, framed as the kind of thing a person who loves their family would simply do without being asked twice. The way your financial decisions are now discussed rather than respected. The way you're spending, your saving, your investments, your lifestyle choices have quietly entered the family's conversational territory, as if your money is a shared resource that everyone has a legitimate stake in managing. You did not give them money. You gave them a governing interest in how you manage yours. Telling someone your financial position without any corresponding transfer of assets is like giving someone the combination to your safe without giving them anything inside it, except now they know the combination, they know approximately what is inside, and they have a set of keys to the building that they call love, obligation, and family. The building is not secure anymore. In 2019, a behavioral economics research group at the University of Zurich published findings on what they called asymmetric information effects in close relationships, the documented pattern in which financial disclosure within high-trust relationships produces measurably larger behavioral changes in the recipient than equivalent disclosure in low-trust relationships. The counterintuitive finding: the more someone trusts and loves you, the more dramatically their behavior changes when they receive accurate financial information about you. Not less, more. Because in a low-trust relationship, the recipient maintains psychological distance from your resources. They are separate. Your money is yours, and the relationship acknowledges that boundary implicitly. But in a high-trust relationship, in a family, the psychological boundary between your resources and our resources is structurally thinner. It was always thin. It was established during childhood, during a period when the resources actually were shared, when the pooling of family assets was the survival model. That model does not automatically update when you become an adult with your own income. The psychological architecture of family money persists beneath the surface long after the practical reality has changed. So when you tell your parents the number, you are not introducing a new concept into a clean relationship. You are activating a dormant framework that was installed before you were old enough to understand its implications. The entitlement your disclosure activates is not new, it is ancient. You just gave it current data to work with. Now let us talk about the specific mechanics of how this plays out, because understanding the mechanism at the surface level is not enough. You need to see the architecture beneath the surface, the layer that most men never examine because they are too busy managing the symptoms to look at the structure producing them. When your parents receive accurate information about your financial position, 3 distinct behavioral shifts activate simultaneously, not sequentially, simultaneously, and because they operate at the same time, they are almost impossible to identify individually, which is why the result feels like a diffuse shift in the relationship rather than a specific set of identifiable changes. Shift 1. The recalibration of your ceiling. Before they knew the number, their understanding of your financial ceiling was based on observable data, your lifestyle, your spending patterns, the indirect signals of how you live. That ceiling was probably lower than the reality, which meant their expectations of what you could reasonably contribute were calibrated to a number below your actual capacity. The moment they know the real number, the ceiling gets recalibrated upward, and every expectation attached to the ceiling recalibrates with it. What you could reasonably afford to do for them, give them, contribute to them, all of it adjusts upward automatically. Not because they are greedy, because the expectations were always tied to the ceiling, and you moved the ceiling. Shift 2. The conversion of requests to obligations. Before the disclosure, when they asked you for something financially meaningful, both parties understood implicitly that the request might not be within your capacity. The request carried its own built-in escape valve. You might simply not be able to, which meant you could decline without the decline carrying moral weight. "I would if I could" is a complete sentence that closes the conversation. After the disclosure, that escape valve is gone. You cannot claim incapacity. They know your capacity, which means every future decline is not a capacity limitation. It is a choice, a deliberate withholding, a decision not to help. When helping is clearly within your means, the request does not change, but what declining means changes entirely. Every no after disclosure is a moral statement in a way that no before disclosure ever was. Telling someone your financial position and then declining their requests is like telling someone you have a car and then refusing to give them a ride. The refusal did not become wrong when you disclosed the car, but it became a different kind of refusal, one that requires justification, one that can be weaponized. Shift 3. The installation of the audit function. This is the most invisible of the 3, and the most damaging over time. Once your parents know your financial position, they become, without deciding to, without intending to, auditors of the gap between what you have and what you are choosing to do with it. Every purchase you make that is visible to them gets measured against the number they know. Every vacation, every upgrade, every discretionary spend now exists in the context of your disclosed surplus and the mental arithmetic they run, again, without deciding to run it, without any malicious intention, produces a specific recurring question. He has that much, and he is doing this instead of helping with that. The audit is not performed openly. It is performed privately and then expressed through the specific familiar language of family concern, the slightly cooler reception after you mention something you bought, the question about whether you are being careful with your money, the reference to someone who had money once and lost it, the specific timing of financial requests, arriving precisely in the window between your disclosed surplus and your stated plans, as if someone is managing a window of opportunity. You did not give them money. You gave them a lens through which everything you spend money on is now evaluated. There is a dark psychology concept that applies precisely to this dynamic. It is called proximity entitlement escalation, the documented pattern in which a person's sense of legitimate claim over another person's resources increases proportionally with their proximity to those resources and their knowledge of their size. In practical terms, the closer someone is to you and the more precisely they know what you have, the larger their unconscious sense of legitimate claim becomes. Not claim in the legal sense, claim in the psychological sense, the felt sense that a portion of what you have is morally owed to them by virtue of the relationship. This escalation is not linear. It follows a threshold pattern. Below a certain knowledge threshold, the entitlement remains dormant. Above it, the escalation accelerates rapidly. The disclosure of financial information, the moment you move someone from approximate guessing to accurate knowledge, is almost always the moment that crosses the threshold. You did not gradually build the entitlement by accumulating wealth in proximity to your family. You triggered the escalation in a single conversation when you told them the number. In the 16th century, Lorenzo de' Medici, heir to the most powerful banking dynasty in Renaissance Europe, maintained a personal policy that his closest biographers documented with consistent specificity. He shared neither the scale of his assets nor the nature of his financial arrangements with any member of his extended family, not because he did not trust them, because he understood, with the clarity that comes from watching the politics of Florentine family systems for his entire life, that financial knowledge inside a family does not stay neutral. It becomes leverage, it becomes obligation, it becomes the currency through which family loyalty is measured, tested, and weaponized. He gave generously. He disclosed nothing. The generosity produced gratitude, the concealment produced mystery, and the combination of the two, the sense that Lorenzo gave by choice rather than by obligation, that his giving was an expression of his will rather than a response to their knowledge, was what maintained his position as the giver rather than gradually converting him into the provider. The moment you tell someone your financial position, you stop being the man who chooses to give and start being the man who owes. Think about what that shift costs you in relationships with people who love you. Your parents did not fall in love with the number you disclosed. They already loved you before the number existed. The love is not the problem. The love is not what changed. What changed is the quality of the love's expression. Before the disclosure, when they did something for you, when they helped, when they showed up, when they demonstrated care, there was no financial calculus embedded in it. It was simply love operating without the weight of known disproportion. After the disclosure, every act of love now exists in the context of what they know. The help they offer carries the implicit awareness of the gap between what they have and what you have. The requests they make carry the weight of the number. The disappointments they feel when you decline carry the specific edge of a denial that they know to be affordable. The love did not change, but the love's relationship to money changed. And when love and money get mixed in the specific way that financial disclosure mixes them, the love does not win. The money does not win either. The relationship simply becomes permanently more complicated than it was before, and that complication cannot be undone, because you cannot unshare information. Telling someone your financial position is like breaking a bone. You can heal it, you can manage it, you can live with it. But the break happened, and the healed version carries the record of the break in its structure forever. Now let us address the most common mistake men make after they understand this dynamic. The instinct, once you see the mechanism, is to correct it through distance, to create space, to pull back from the relationship in ways that reduce the ongoing cost of the disclosure. This is the wrong correction, and it produces a worse outcome than the original problem. Distance inside a family system does not reduce entitlement. It triggers a different mechanism: scarcity response, escalation. The pattern in which a perceived reduction in a resource's availability produces more urgent and more aggressive access behavior from the person who knows the resource exists. In plain terms, pulling away from someone who knows you have money and now feels they have a claim on it does not make the claim smaller. It makes them grip tighter. The claims arrive more frequently, the requests become more urgent, the guilt deployment becomes more aggressive, because they now have two motivations operating simultaneously: the original entitlement and the new anxiety that the access is being removed. You cannot create distance from a claim that exists inside a person's psychology. The claim travels with the knowledge. The correction is not distance. The correction is the management of future disclosure. The conversation that has already happened cannot be unmade, but every conversation that comes after it is a decision you still control. Robert Greene, who spent 20 years documenting the mechanics of power with a precision that made him simultaneously celebrated and uncomfortable to publishers, wrote in the 48 Laws of Power, a principle that applies to this exact situation with the force of a diagnosis rather than an observation. He had studied the courts of European history, the boardrooms of modern power, and the social dynamics of every environment in which resource asymmetry exists alongside emotional connection. He wrote, "Conceal your intentions. Keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions." He was not writing about deception. He was writing about the specific protection that mystery provides in environments where knowledge is leverage. In your family, your financial position is not just information. It is the raw material from which expectations, obligations, and claims are manufactured. Concealing it is not deception. It is the responsible management of information in an environment where information has demonstrated it cannot be held neutrally. The man who protects his financial privacy within his family is not hiding from love. He is protecting the love from the specific corrosion that financial knowledge introduces into it. Let us name the 3 things you must never disclose, regardless of how the question is framed, regardless of how much love surrounds the asking. The first is the number. Not approximately, not a range, not more than I used to make or enough to be comfortable. The actual number in any form that allows for calculation, because the moment a specific figure exists in their knowledge, even a rounded one, the entitlement mechanism activates against that specific figure. An approximate figure is not safe. A range is not safe. Any information that allows them to construct an accurate model of your financial position is not safe. The answer to any question about your financial position is a variant of the same response delivered in the warmth of the relationship rather than the coldness of refusal. I'm managing things well, and I'm focused on what I'm building. When there's something specific to share, you'll hear it from me. Not defensive, not evasive, closed and warm, simultaneously. This is achievable. It requires practice, but it is achievable. The second is the trajectory. Not just where you are going, your projected growth, your investment timeline, your financial goals, the gap between your current position and your intended position. The trajectory is more dangerous than the current number, because the trajectory allows for forward calculation. They can estimate not just what you have, but what you will have. And entitlement based on future projected wealth is less specific and therefore less manageable than entitlement based on current known wealth, because there is no ceiling to negotiate against. A man who knows you will have more than you currently have does not experience that future wealth as yours alone. He experiences it as part of the family's future, a future he has already begun incorporating into his own planning. The third is the specifics of your income sources, not just the total where it comes from, the business revenue, the investment returns, the side income, the asset structure, because different income sources carry different perceived obligations attached to them in the family psychology. Business income is perceived as the result of family environment, and therefore partially owed to the family that produced you. Investment returns are perceived as passive, money-making money, and therefore available for redistribution without cost to you. Side income is perceived as extra, beyond your needs, and therefore obviously available for others' needs. Each source comes preloaded with its own entitlement framework in the family's processing of the information. Disclosing the sources does not just inform, it provides the specific justifications the entitlement mechanism needs to express itself as reasonable. Here is the dark mechanic that operates beneath everything just covered, the layer that most men never see because they are managing the relationship symptoms rather than examining the psychological infrastructure producing them. Your parents have a social world. That social world has conversations. And in those conversations, the financial information you shared privately does not stay private, not because your parents are malicious, but because social information compression operates in every relationship network, regardless of the intentions of the people inside it. Social information compression is the process by which personal information shared in confidence within a close relationship gets translated into social currency within the wider relationship network of the person who received it, not as gossip, as conversation, as context, as the natural reference points that people use when discussing the people they are close to. Your financial position enters your parents' social world as part of how they discuss you. Not the number explicitly, but the implicit context. The references that are shaped by knowing. The decisions they explain to extended family that are only explainable with reference to a context, those family members can eventually infer. The casual mentions that carry embedded information about your position without explicitly stating it. By the time the information has traveled 3 relationships out from your parents, an accurate model of your financial position exists in your extended family network. You shared it with 2 people. It now belongs to 20, and not one of those 20 has your number. They have something more dangerous, an implied understanding, a family consensus, a collectively held impression, which is impossible to correct, impossible to source, and impossible to directly address because it was never explicitly stated. There is a way to move forward from this if the disclosure has already happened, not to undo it, to recalibrate the dynamic in the only direction that is still available to you. The recalibration requires the consistent execution of one behavioral principle across every financial conversation in the relationship going forward: the decoupling of your capacity from your obligation. Every time a financial request arrives directly or through the specific language of family concern, the response acknowledges the relationship without acknowledging the financial logic that produced the request. You are not declining because you cannot afford to. You are declining because the decision is yours. That distinction, delivered calmly, consistently, without apology, begins the process of separating the entitlement from the knowledge in the relationship's operating logic. It will not be received warmly at first. The entitlement mechanism experiences this decoupling as withdrawal, as coldness, as the specific betrayal of a person who knows you have the capacity and is choosing not to deploy it. Because the alternative is not generosity. The alternative is the systematic conversion of your financial capacity into a family resource that you nominally control, but practically cannot exercise without navigating a permanent field of claims, obligations, expectations, and disappointments. That is not love, sustaining a relationship. That is a relationship consuming the financial future of the person at its center. You were taught that keeping things to yourself in a family is selfish. The truth is the opposite. The man who protects his financial privacy protects the love in his family relationships from the specific contamination that financial knowledge introduces. He gives without obligation. He helps without being held. He remains the person who chose to give rather than the person who was required to give, and that distinction is the difference between a relationship that produces mutual dignity and one that produces mutual resentment. Now let us acknowledge what you are probably feeling after 17 minutes of this video. If this is working, if the mechanism described here is landing with the specific weight of something that has been operating in your life without having a name, then what you are feeling right now is not just understanding, it is the specific discomfort of clarity, the feeling of seeing something accurately that you cannot now unsee and cannot now pretend you did not see. That discomfort is the most productive thing you have felt about this topic. Use it. If this video reached something real for you, like it, not as a courtesy gesture, because it tells this channel the content landed on the exact person it was built for. Subscribe if this level of precision is what you want consistently. That is a simple decision with a clear return. Now, what was covered in this video is what this platform allows. The mechanics examined here are the surface architecture. What exists behind the join button is the operational layer, the specific psychological defense frameworks for navigating financial conversations within family systems without damaging the relationships, the documented manipulation patterns that emerge specifically when financial entitlement has been activated, and the specific counter-strategies that neutralize them without confrontation, with the dark psychology of guilt, leverage weaponization, how the people who love you most learn to deploy your love against your financial autonomy, and the precise behavioral responses that dismantle the leverage without dismantling the relationship. This cannot be published here. Not because I chose not to share it, because the algorithm suppresses operational content at this level of specificity. When it targets family dynamics, the platform protects certain sacred social structures from the kind of forensic examination we just performed together. If you want the complete architecture, the part that takes everything covered in this video and converts it into an operational system you can run in real time inside your family relationships, click the join button below. Inside is a circle of men who are building in silence and protecting what they build with the same precision they used to build it. The knowledge inside is not theoretical, it is operational. It is the kind of information that changes how you move in your relationships before the next financial conversation arrives. The circle stays small because that is what keeps the quality of what lives inside it. You stayed until the end of a video that required you to examine the people you love with a precision you were never taught to apply to them. That willingness to see clearly rather than comfortably is not common. Most people cannot sustain it for 19 minutes. You just did. The blueprint is in your hands now. The next financial conversation your family initiates is the first test of whether you use it. Walk into that conversation differently than you walked into the last one. The version of you that watched this video cannot afford to operate like the version that existed before it.